My opinion on what hashtag strategy you should be using right now on TikTok has totally changed in August 2020, so make sure you listen up. If you're like most creators on TikTok, you have absolutely no idea what you're doing when it comes to hashtags. You don't know if you should be using none, if you should use hashtag FYP, if you should load up the whole description with hashtags. You just don't know what to do, and that's totally fine. I'm here to tell you what to do. I'm sure you see so much conflicting information out there. There are people out there saying don't use hashtag FYP or hashtag For You page is gonna get you banned or shadow banned and things like that. It's absolute nonsense. Let me give you the lay of the land when it comes to hashtags. Hashtags are only used on TikTok in order to index content. It does two things. First, you can search for things under hashtags. It's gonna index content that should fit that description. And then secondly, what it does is it allows TikTok to know what kind of content you made. It's just one tool that TikTok uses in order to determine where they're gonna show your stuff and what kind of audience is going to see your content. I get this question probably a dozen times every single day, so I did want to take a second to answer it. If your video is not showing up under a hashtag right when you post it, or if you post some random hashtag and you're trying to see whether or not you're shadow banned, this is not how you see whether or not you're shadow banned. It takes time for TikTok to be able to index content under hashtags. That being said, if you do think you're shadow banned, I strongly suggest you watch my shadow ban video at the end of this. I'll try to link out to it at the end. My goal by the end of this video is to answer every single question that you have regarding hashtags on TikTok. Make sure you guys stick around for the end of the video because I'm also going to be sharing with you another huge factor that just came into the For You page and the TikTok algorithm, and it's how TikTok is now starting to index content because it's taking way more into consideration than just the hashtag that you're using. And honestly, in some cases, I've seen this thing work even better than using the right hashtags. Seriously, I haven't seen anybody else talk about this either on TikTok or on YouTube, and it has made a huge difference in the amount of views that I'm getting. You're not gonna wanna miss this. So that you guys know, in a nutshell, all hashtags do is allow TikTok to index content and it signals to the TikTok algorithm who they should be showing your content to. Basically, it's just a way for you to be able to tag your content and tag the post so that TikTok knows who to push it out to. This is why you can make a prank video, you can make a skit video, and both of them can get pushed out to separate audiences. And for that reason, it's incredibly important that you're using the right TikTok hashtag strategy so that you don't this up. Because trust me, using the wrong TikTok hashtag strategy can totally ruin the amount of views that you're gonna get on your content. And worst of all, it can prevent you from going viral. But using the right hashtag strategy can totally change your life. I just had a creator the other day DM me. I put it on my IG stories. For those of you that don't follow me, make sure you go follow me at @_RobertBenjamin on Instagram. Nevertheless, I put this on my story because it was an amazing story. This guy was able to rank using my hashtag strategy for hashtag challenge. That hashtag has 81.1 billion views. He got over 100,000 followers in less than a week just for ranking for that hashtag. And I have a really good feeling he's gonna hit 1 million followers soon and absolutely blow up because he's ranking in the top for that hashtags. And that is an incredibly hard hashtag to rank for. Could you imagine how many views you would get on a video like that and how many followers you would gain if you were able to rank for a hashtag with 81.1 billion views? Now listen up. So right now there are essentially 3 hashtag strategies that I would strongly recommend you employ on TikTok. And to be totally honest, you should be employing a mix of all 3 of them. In the past, I only recommended that you use 1 hashtag strategy. Now I want you to use 3 of them, so make sure you stick around and listen to all 3. Now I know you might think I'm kidding, but seriously, if you're only employing a single hashtag strategy right now, you are at a huge disadvantage. Everybody, and I mean everybody, that is growing really quickly on TikTok right now is taking advantage of all 3 of these different hashtag strategies at different times, which I explain in a little bit. You are not going to want to miss this. The first strategy, and this might sound counterintuitive, is actually using no hashtags at all, because way too many of you guys put too much focus into your hashtags. I get dozens of DMs every single day saying, hey Rob, my hashtags aren't doing well, the hashtag's this, the hashtag's that. 9 times out of 10, if your content's not doing well, it's not because of your hashtags, it's just because you made terrible content. You didn't get a lot of watch time, you're not putting out content that's trending on TikTok, and TikTok doesn't think that they have an audience for your content. And I know you're probably scratching your head thinking, Rob, how many posts should I put out a day with no hashtags? I would do this on 20% of your content. Again, the reason being to train yourself to make better content, because if you're just relying on your hashtag strategy, then you're gonna miss like 95% of what actually makes a post go viral or get a lot of views. And yes, ranking for a hashtag can totally change your life, like the creator that I just told you about, but I don't think it's essential to put hashtags on every single video. I've even seen a ton of really big creators start to mix this into their content strategy, where they'll only put hashtags on 10 to 20% of their content, and they're seeing great results from it. I've been doing it too, and I've been seeing the same thing. Before I get into the next strategy, I need you guys to do one simple thing. I need you guys to go follow Dennis. I'm gonna link out to him in the description below. I also need you to go follow at Tashi_vibes. I'm gonna link out to her in the description below. She's an amazing Canadian content creator. If you're in Canada, you need to make sure you go follow her double. I would follow her twice. Follow her and spam like her stuff. For those of you that go and do this and you tag me in their last post, I'm gonna choose one of you guys to get a shout out in my next video. The second hashtag strategy that I recommend is using 1 to 2 broad hashtags, 1 to 2 trending hashtags, and then 1 to 2 post specific hashtags. In total, total, you should be using at least 5 to 6 hashtags when you're doing this method. That's what's gonna work best. When you're choosing a hashtag from the Discover page, if it's not something that's related to your content, I would strongly suggest that you go with the hashtag that has the least amount of views. That is what is going to get the most amount of videos created under it in the next 48 hours, so you have the best chance to rank for that hashtag. As far as the broad hashtags go, I would just use things like hashtag viral, hashtag trending, hashtag FYP, and hashtag for you page. And finally, for the post specific stuff, you need to make sure that whatever your post is bad, if it's about cats, just type in cats into the search bar, go under hashtag. You wanna use the hashtags that have the most amount of videos made for it. This is going to increase the chances that your content is gonna get pushed out to a larger audience on TikTok, because TikTok thinks that they have a huge audience for that stuff. You guys do not wanna use the hashtags that have a little bit of views under it or no views at all. And when you're doing this strategy, it's really important that you don't do a couple things, so let me explain that to you. First, you need to make sure that you're spelling the hashtag the right way. If you spell it the wrong way, and I do this sometimes, it totally ruins the point of using the hashtag. Second, you need to be making sure that you're using the hashtags under post-specific hashtags that have the most amount of views. Under the trending ones, you want to use the ones that have the least amount of views, unless you're actually doing that trend. And third, I would try to, whenever you can, try to use the shortest hashtags that have the least amount of characters in it, because if you're choosing really long hashtags and you put 6 of them in the description box, it's gonna look like spam, it's not gonna be aesthetically pleasing, and it's just gonna deter people from looking at your content. And like I said, TikTok uses all of this information to determine who they should push your content out to, so I strongly suggest you do all of those things right that I just said. Here's a prime example. I don't know if it's gonna be to the left or to the right, but these are the hashtags that I would choose if I was looking up something like hashtag comedy skits. Based on what we're looking at right here, you would use hashtag comedy skits, hashtag comedy skit challenge, hashtag weekend comedy skit, and fourth, hashtag comedy skits. I would choose 2 of those hashtags. As you can see, all the other hashtags that show up have almost no views compared to those top 4. Because if you do all those things, you're gonna allow TikTok to appropriately index your content and push your content out to the right audience. And there is one other factor, which is under your control, which TikTok actually uses to index your content in addition to hashtags, and in some cases, I've seen it work way better than hashtags, but we'll get into that in a minute. The third strategy that you need to be implementing as far as your hashtags go is the same strategy that I've been saying for a really long time. It's gonna be 2 broad hashtags and 2 trending hashtags, or 2 post-specific hashtags and 2 trending hashtags. I've seen this work so well. In total, it should be 4 hashtags. I would not stick to 3. I know I say 1 to 2, 1 to 2, but I would stick to 4. And like I said, I really want to emphasize to you guys, do not think that your hashtag strategy, yes, you need to use the 3 hashtag strategy that I just told you about, but do not think that is the end all be all. You also need a really high amount of watch time, and you need good content. If your content's not getting a high amount of watch time, which means you don't have a really good hook, you're not incentivizing engagement, you're not getting the correct amount of engagement, and you're just making content that TikTok doesn't think they have an audience for, then guess what? Your content's just not going to get pushed out. All that to say, the most important factor is not actually what hashtags used, and there is something that actually gets pushed in the description bar too, which is going to determine whether or not your content gets indexed for certain things or pushed out to certain audiences, and that is using the keywords that you're using in your hashtags in your description. This is incredibly important. If you're making content about cats, you need to have the words cats in the description. If you were to write a perfect description and use perfect hashtags, it would look something like this. First, you would be employing one of the hashtag strategies that I mentioned above, and then secondly, you would be writing a description that's going to do 3 things. First, it's going to hook the user in. Second, it's going to have that keyword in there, so TikTok is going to index that content and then push it out to those creators that fit that audience. And then third, it's going to increase the amount of watch time that you get. In order to craft a really good description, it might take you 1 minute to 2 minutes. I would not spend 30 minutes on this. I would not spend an hour on this. I would not let this prevent you from posting, but you should, especially on reposts, make sure that you're taking these things into consideration, because TikTok is definitely looking at them when it's determining what audience to push your content to and when it should be indexing your content. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to learn more about how to grow on TikTok, I strongly suggest that you watch the 2 videos that are over here or the 2 videos that are over here and get into my free TikTok growth course at the link in the description.